Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aliff Johan bin Abdul Jalil. So I am going to present my final project one for course code MEC 601, which is a proposal presentation. My supervisor is Dr. Mohammad Azzeim, and the topic that I chose, study of muscle activation during sports activities using EMG, golf putting. The project summary for this research is to determine whether golfer experience plays a role towards the efficiency of playing. Activation patterns in flexor carpi radialis longus (FCR) muscles of the both hand and the latissimus dorsi muscle, which is lower back body of the muscle during golf putting. And then we shall determine whether these changes are significant enough to affect shot performance. Furthermore, muscle activation shall be compared between the muscle group by recording and analyzing the EMG activity of these muscles. Two participants, one with experience and one without experience, participate in this study by completing a series of putting drills, while the EMG sensors shall attach to both hands and the back of the body to detect the activation of the flexor muscle and the latissimus dorsi muscle. Introduction for this project is EMG, which is electromyography, is the sensor to detect electric current flow through the muscle cell. And then the electric current act as a signal to contract the muscle, thus cause movement of body part. The activity of putting is arguably the most important in golf because it calls the precise use of the hands, wrist, and lower back movement. The differential in FCR and latissimus dorsi muscle activation between experienced and without experienced golf putters is the issue that has been highlighted in this research. And then there is some speculation that due to greater talent and experience, experienced golfers may be better able to regulate and coordinate their muscles during sports specific activities. And then for the overactive flexor muscles in the hand and wrist, in particular, can overuse of the muscles responsible for hand and wrist flexion, and it may cause problems with the putting stroke. Careful control for aspects like the type of EMG equipment utilized and the location of the electrodes on the skin is vital for maximizing the reliability and validity of the results. And then for the problem statement, as we can see, it is investigation into the flexor and latissimus dorsi muscle activation patterns that occur during golf putting, since it is unclear how these patterns may affect their performance. The ongoing research strives to address the lack of knowledge around the measurement and understanding of flexor muscle and latissimus dorsi muscle activation in golf putting. And then the second problem statement is different posture of the player. Every player have different posture and the result will be different at each of the player. The third one is restricted movement using EMG sensor. As we can see, during the experiment, the excessive muscle movement must be reduced to gain an accurate results. These are three objectives that I found. First one is to identify the activation flexor muscle and latissimus dorsi muscle behavior of between experienced and without experienced golfers during putting using an EMG with an Arduino sensor. The second objective is to analyze the data from the EMG which show that the subject had significantly higher levels of muscle activation in their flexor muscle and latissimus dorsi muscle. The third one is to compare and contrast the muscle activation patterns of experienced and without experienced golfers during putting. And then for the literature review. The first one, we have three phases. The first one, golf putting between experienced and non-experienced golfers. From the number of studies found, A high variety of EMG methodologies were reported. The flexor muscles of both forearms and latissimus dorsi muscles showed their peak activity during the acceleration phase. High muscle activity was found in the forearm muscles, especially in the flexor muscles and the latissimus dorsi muscle, demonstrating activity levels above the maximal voluntary contraction. Furthermore, there is a lack of studies on golf players on experience or non-experience. And then the second literature review are forearm flexor muscle and the latissimus dorsi muscle used in golf putting. So EMG was utilized to assess the functional muscle status of the flexor carpi radius longus muscles in both forearms and the latissimus dorsi muscle. And then for the FCR muscle strength was quite greater when the hand was moved from extension to flexion, and for latissimus dorsi muscle also affected the lower back body for the golf putting activity. And then this study to evaluate EMG activity of right and left FCR, and also the latissimus dorsi muscles, which is lower back of the body during a golf putting. The third literature review is review on surface element electromyography and muscle activation. This research aims to monitor the muscle activity of most inlet sports like golf putting using a data driven methodology. And then one issue is that due to disturbance of noise checking, data from the channels might take inaccurate results. And then EMG data also has improved by investigating how patterns of muscle activation have changed. As I just said just now, two participants, one experienced and one non-experienced, had EMG recordings taken of their flexor muscles on the both forearms and latissimus dorsi muscle. For the scopes and limitations, the scope of this experiment to investigate the flexor, which is FCR muscle and latissimus dorsi muscle activity during golf putting. Then it will be measured using EMG. And then those muscles involved in golf putting are the only one who will be studied, and no other muscles will be taken into this experiment. So for the limitation, as we can see, uh, the size sample. As a bigger sample size may have produced more reliable results. In addition, the study was done in a single venue. Therefore, the findings may not be applicable to other location or contexts. Finally, the study only examined one variable FCR and latissimus dorsi muscle activation. Hence, it is impossible to make conclusions on the role of other variables to golf putting performance. And then for the methodology, the first one, as you can see at the left side at the picture, this is the FCR muscle, and the right one is latissimus dorsi at lower back of the body. So the methodology used in this study is by conducting experiment. Then result of the experiment must be compared with an existing result. Uh, Furthermore, to make sure the result gain is valid and significant. Lastly, the muscle that have been decided to be studied is the FCR and latissimus dorsi muscle. So this is the AMG setup. As you can see, this is a converter, have converter, receiver, electrode transmitter, Pro EMG software, and others. So this is the flow chart for this project, and the participants will be attached with EMG onto their forearm and lower back of their body, and then they will be asked to do a simple golf putting activity. The result will be compared to make an analysis to get a significant result. And if the result of the experiment is valid, then it will proceed to the discussion and conclusion of the experiment. So for the expected result, as we can see at the left, the sample of the raw EMG signal and the sample of RMS graph. RMS is root mean square. So based on the previous study and research, this figure are only instances. The actual outcomes of this study should seem quite close to them, but if not, it will be better. Overall, the results of the study may help to identify potential differences in muscle activation patterns between experienced and without experienced golfers, and may provide insight into how these patterns may impact performance. And then the expected result of this study will contribute to the existing body of knowledge on muscle activation patterns during sport activities and may have practical implications for the golfers and coaches. And then for the discussion, there are many research papers that can be used in this project, and the result of the experiment can determine the muscle behavior of the player forearms and lower back body. The posture does affect the muscle behavior, and then there are many reasons determine the muscle behavior. Last but not least, the experienced golfers demonstrate significantly lower levels of muscle activation in the wrist muscles compared to the inexperienced golfers. And then this suggests that experienced golfers have more relaxed and controlled wrist action during putting, and which may help them to maintain accuracy and consistency. And then for the conclusion, the muscle behavior is mainly because of the muscle load. In a nutshell, that experienced golfers have developed more efficient muscle control, which allows them to generate more force and accuracy in their putting strokes. Overall, these results highlight the importance of proper muscle activation and control in golf putting, and suggest that experienced athletes may have developed superior muscle coordination and control compared to their inexperienced counterparts. And then for the planning and schedule, so this is my Gantt chart for my project. And then these are the reference that include in my proposal. So that's all from me. Thank you.